morning, sir. So in this video, we will be going to discuss our papers entitled The Problems and Difficulties of Students Whose Parents Working Abroad. Philippines are classified as one of the world's lower middle income nations, considering the average of Filipinos' minimum wage, and it was difficult to find opportunities. Their earnings were insufficient to cover the cost of supporting their families, particularly the education of their children. Mostly women traveled abroad to find jobs and better salary. Parents are the one who instilled strong values in their children and enforced discipline. They gave warm, caring, and treatment so that they could have a better future. And also, it is their responsibility to find or to meet the educational needs of their children. According to UN Vista 2017, in Southeast Asia, Singapore has 46% of migrants, Brunei has 25.3%, and Malaysia has 8.5% of migrants. In Philippines, the total of overseas Filipino workers in Calabarzon region was 20.7%. In Central Luzon is 12.19%, and in Western Visayas has 9.5%. This was according to Philippine Statistic Authority in 2017. It is stated by Bernales PhD on 2018 that Davao has 97% of overseas Filipino workers. So, I will give the opportunity to speak to Valerie Guzman, and she will be discuss the continuation of the introduction.
The guidance officers provided support programs for the students with mental distress, involving the problem, and even offered counsel. The school administrator learns and aware of how the situation may affect the academic community. They understand why it must be provided with attention and decided on how it was managed. The struggles of these students were also found to show both positive and negative effects. For the positive effects, they learn to strive hard, be independent, and find motivation from something or someone that inspired them to do so. For the negative effects, they experienced loneliness as they were still unused to the feeling without their parents, and they faced insecurities and family issues involving themselves and their parents.
So next is the background of the study. So most people nowadays wanted to earn more money, not only for their needs and wants but also for their family daily essentials. So people used to work in any private and public sectors to provide what's best for their family. But still insufficient to accomplish everything that they dream of their family, and so decided to work abroad to have a better and higher currency of salaries they could get. So students that have parents who work abroad tend to experience emotional, mental, and behavioral problems because of lacking of guidance and control, depending on how their guardians of discipline them. Plus they could not get feel of love from their parents, was been far away from them for a long time. So according to Bartleby research, way back in 2006 alone, 1.5 million Filipino workers were deployed to have various parts of globe. So several children these days experience the absence of fathers and their mothers, who tend to come home only once in every 2 to 3 years. So because of their contract of overseas workers. So the increasing number of absence parents who comes more alarming because without them, so discipline is not enforced at home. Moreover, separation anxiety is a natural event in human development. Fears and anxieties among children are normal. common and passing reactions to a variety situations. So, however, in our country, most of parents are willing to go abroad for their salary. According to Facts and Details research, overseas Filipino workers work abroad to escape crushing poverty and unemployment and lack of opportunity at home. So some OFWs don't have degree here in the Philippines. That's why they decided to go abroad to sustain their responsibility as a parent or as a member of a family. So even they don't want to go in abroad, but they have no choice, but they sacrifice.
According to the SME Aus Manila 2004 report, which was the base nation survey of 1,443 children aged of 10 to 12 conducted in 2003, children of overseas Filipino workers, or OFW, had a higher percentage of children attending private school than the children of non-migrants. Furthermore, the 2003 almost as well, if it is not better than the children of non-migrants, comparable to an early studies Bastillas and Conaco in 1998. Children of OFW were found to be more likely than other children of non-OFW to join academic clubs and engage in extracurriculum activities in the studies of rural children in 13 years old to 16 years old. They were also more likely to earn school awards, according to Ideleon 2008. Serial migration was found to be harmful to parent-child bonding as well as to children's actions and self-esteem. In the studies of Caribbean migrations to Canada using the standard scale Smith et al. In 2004. The ideal outcomes is the mother-care family in which father travels overseas and mothers stay at home to take care for their children. Children in these households do exceptional well in terms of school and accomplishment. In this year, most of us really don't have enough money to sustain daily needs. And this year, most of Filipino work in different countries in order to sustain their family.
This research is focused on the experiences and perspective of children who have been separated from their parents as a result of migration process. Parents' absence has an effect to their children's emotional growth, social relationship, and academic success in addition to their social structures.
Despite the difficulty children face the absence of their parents, there are some of them who manage to excel the academics. In looking at the impact of migration, findings of research done in the Philippines, Brazil, Mexico, and other countries show that when parents are away, housework burdens of children decreases, while learning time at school increases in resulting to better academic performance. According to Acosta in 2006, Hanson and Woodruff in 2003, Kendall and Cow in 2001, and Assis in 2006. This scenario manifests an affirmative influence for those students who are academically high performing in school even if their parents are away. Constant and open communication with their spouse and children back home is crucial. Avoid family and marital problem. Both parties must take it part of their regular schedule to communicate with one another. The positive influence is due to successful coping skills that create an idea as to how one can make changes in his or her life to make stress more manageable. According to Jerry in 2002 as cited in Smith in 2004.
Solving the issue. The same true with problems related to racial discrimination in work. The OFW should learn how to cope with stress brought about by this problem. Communication is also the key. There are some few ways to deal with situation at work without hurting the working relationship between the OFW and the company. That's why it is important for OFWs to also avail themselves for the counseling service offered by non-government and government agencies.
Conclusion. We all know that migration is very rampant, especially to those parents that wanted to have a higher salary. That is why there are many problems that can occur to a family and that may reflect to migration issues in the Philippines. There's no wrong if you find another place for a job, but we need to consider a lot of things because it is very hard to handle pressures, especially if you are protective to your family. It is true that moving to a next country for a job has a big salary, but the effect to his or her children can be dangerous because parents should be always at their sides since children should be managed physically, mentally, and spiritually. I learned that migration should occur in the right time, in the right place, since migrating to another country is not easy because it can lead to a conflict. That is why it is very important to migrate if your child has the right age to understand better for your situation. Because if not, it may result to a negative effect and it can cause a big problem to your family and can misunderstand things they want to argue. I conclude that this kind of challenge should be handled properly so that your family can understand and so that it can be peaceful and happy always. Because a family that remains happy, it can be more successful.
I conclude that parents and children should have a constant communication through chats, video calls, and other internet communication so that they would not miss each other. And their children always felt that they don't have a gap between their parents. Through this kind of communication, the child felt the affection of their parents even if they are not available too much. In addition, the students will be more independent of themselves because they don't have parents beside them. Independent is part of puberty, so this is a good training for them to be more mature in life. And also, they will be more motivated to strive hard in school because they will think that their parents are working abroad just to give them a good future. So in this case, it will result a good academic to a student. Thank you.
A home will never be called a home without its members, the family. According to Webster Dictionary, home is the place where something originated and developed. Therefore, a home is the honing place of a child towards his behavior, values, skills, and even their cognitive ability. So the researcher concluded that the problems and difficulties of the students regarding to migration must depend on the students on how will he or she understands the circumstances that they have frontage on. So however, the intricacy of this phenomenon is determined by the fact that prevention and mitigation of the situation may help in students' perception regarding their outlook in life. So in addition, it may perhaps mend of students' emotional and social welfare. That's all.
This research is focused on the experiences and perspective of children who have been separated from their parents as a result of migration process. Parents' absence has an effect to their children's emotional growth, social relationship, and academic success in addition to their social structures. Searching for a job abroad is a successful strategy for avoiding poverty. However, further than the brief economic benefits of migration, the long-term effect of children being separated from their parents have become more clear and more critical over time. The problem in this situation is determined by the fact that prevention parental migration would lead to an increased children's emotional well-being and worsening the family's realities.
Migration involves the movement of people from one place to another with the intention of settling permanently or temporarily at a new location or moving back to where you came from. Migration can be used or can help you in your life by moving for a temporarily or permanently to a other place to work because in other place you have more opportunities because they have much bigger and better salary for you in every different works. Some of our parents forced to migrate to other country because of their great offers and a big opportunity, and a chance to be successful in their dreams in life, and also to give their children a much better life, also to support their children in their school, like school's payment, projects, and even their daily allowance for their fare and food in their school, for their child to be able to have and confident to go in the school. By migrating, you can have a very big chance to support your child in school until they can finish it, because you can have them what they need in their school, because you have enough money to support them, because migration is a great source of money, because it is legal and have a bigger amount of money. If you convert your money from other country to Philippine money, but also migration have a bad impact at the child, because some of the children didn't understand the needs of their life and the opportunity that come. Some of our children are having mental problems because the emotional that they miss their parents, and the feeling of the emptiness or incomplete, because they can still understand, that's why they feel those emotion. And some of the teenager also choose the wrong path of their life because the lack of guidance in their family, and some of their are being suicidal person because they have big and bad emotions in their mind that hurt their feelings, and also the cause of lack of guidance of their family.
Conclusion. There are advantages and disadvantages of studying overseas. It gives people more choice about what to study, and students may become more tolerant of other cultures. This may affect their family finance, and some parents might have to work harder or to do job to pay for their children's education. Children can exert more agencies in initiating calls with their OFW parents. It is also understandable that students may be undergo some changes in their behavior that can affect their performance in their students, and as the parents they have their responsibilities in motivating and counseling their children, which I think most essential things to do.
Parents work abroad to provide for the needs of their families and to have a better life. Parents went overseas for they knew there were a lot of opportunities they might pursue. In this context, the researchers want to see the problem and the student struggles who their parents left behind to work abroad. The students learn to be aware and express freely what they truly feel and understand why they must accept why their parents work abroad. The parents of the students should know what their children think and what their behavior was like. The guidance officers of this institution are provided much further information about the students' behavior and mental status, and how their actions in school could be influenced from home because of the absence of a parental figure.
Whereas previous studies in Bastillas and Conaco in 1998, MCAS Manila in 2004, ASIS in 2006, found that young children in husband household were worse off in school and certain mental indicators than children in other households. This was the case of Chamsia report. It's possible that consequences of having migrate mother have changed over the decades.